My name is Öykü Işık and I'm an assistant professor here at Vlerick Business School. My area of expertise is business intelligence and business process management. When it comes to the relationship between them, it's really interesting. They are so dynamic fields, both of them. The way we define BI, the way we define BPM is actually an organic thing. The definition itself is changing along with the technology that enables these concepts is changing. So I actually do see their relationship. Maybe we can use the analogy of a DNA curve, that there are parts where they really do come on top of each other. They really do intersect with one another, but there are also points where they diverge a bit from one another. BI is a system to increase your organization's performance by making it possible to do better decisions. That is the gist of business intelligence. BPM, on the other hand, is a holistic management approach that is designed to help organizations manage their processes end to end to deliver higher quality, a higher value to the customer. So always the purpose with BPM is to generate higher value for the customer. There's a term used to refer to that as BI was in the ivory tower of IT. So only a small group of people could use it, and another small group of people consumed it. But now it's really changing. Now the term operational BI or BI for the masses refer to the concept of getting BI, using BI in the operational level in the organization. So basically that is inserting BI capabilities into your business processes. And that of course makes the link between BI and BPM clear at that point. I would stay away from defining information as the only most important asset, as well as processes. I really like to say that information, along with the proper use of it and the right people to use it as a combination, I think is the most important asset of an organization. Because imagine if you collect all the information out there, but you don't have the skill set, the brains in the organization to actually make sense of it. It wouldn't really provide any value. Or you may have the perfect processes and perfect people in place, but if you don't have access to data or information, then again it wouldn't make sense. So I think it's really a combination of having the information, having the processes to make sense of that information, and having the people to be able to execute that process is the most important asset. Yes, I would definitely say that. I think they do, and we see a lot of examples out there. They do exist that separate from one another. So you see a lot of organizations that are very successful in BI, but are not necessarily process oriented, do not necessarily use any process management activities. Or on the other hand, there are a lot of process oriented organizations that have chosen not to, or not yet maybe, to go for BI capabilities. And this is perfectly fine. I see this as an evolution. And I think it's not realistic to expect an organization to start immediately using both solutions perfect in the first place. So it's really a matter of having capabilities and taking your capabilities further, increasing your own maturity level. But I do really think that if you start using BI for your processes, then it is much easier for you to reap the benefits from your analytical capabilities, that is BI capabilities, as well as your effectiveness and efficiency that is related to your processes. What you see is operational BI on the one hand. So people who are more fond of BI would come to you with discussions on operational BI and BI for the masses, how they are using it for their transactional purposes, how they are using their BI with their ERPs to improve their processes. But on the BPM camp, you hear people talking about intelligent processes, process intelligence, process discovery, automated process mining. So these are all things that is possible by analytical capabilities. So there's actually a clear BI input in the BPM area as well. So you do see that evolution in both camps, but it's still not necessarily the same path that you see these discussions on. Still, there are BI opponents and there are BPM opponents, and it's rare that you see an analyst or a consultant out there writing clearly that this is BI and BPM together. But of course, there's research growing on that, I would say. For an organization to be able to have both capabilities, they should start with increasing their BI maturity first. And the reason for that is because you need to have some things right, some technological or analytical, I should say, analytical capabilities right, and reporting capabilities right before you get into more advanced technological things such as process mining, such as process discovery, or having the capability to use BI feedback feed into your processes so that they can adapt themselves, which I refer to as intelligent processes. So I think you do need to have some certain level of maturity to be able to match those two concepts. And of course for BPM as well. So you need to have a certain level of maturity. You should already have your processes in place. You should identify what you want to improve, why you want to improve it. So you don't really start from zero level in each camp. So you really need to understand the basics and get some things right before you start combining those two, I think. So real-time data analysis, that's where I think it's going. Everybody will have to have that sooner or later. Now it's still considered as an advantage for organizations, but now I think you also start seeing a lot of open source and free software solutions to be able to analyze real-time data. So we'll get there very quickly. Everybody will have that capability. But I think that is not the most important thing. I think the most important concept is the concept of right time data. So not every organization has to have everything real time. Not all business needs require immediate analysis. There is the concept of right time. So when do you really need that information? That is only when you should get it. Because you still see this among this humongous data environment that we have, that is data generated by every simple machine around us, as well as the internet. We as the internet users are generating data ourselves. So among this data pollution, it's really important to have that filtering mechanism and know in a very mindful way what you really need for your business and also what you don't need, so that you don't waste any resources, any time, any energy in trying to understand whether this data for me is useful or not. So I think that brings in the concept of right time data as well. Yes, I think it is simply not feasible, also not realistic, to expect organizations to really collect all the data out there. It's simply not possible, I think. And just to emphasize that, think about the concept of social media analysis. Now, there's a function in organization called social media analysts. People are hiring people so that they will analyze what people are saying about their organization on Twitter, what is the fan page on Facebook looks like, and what people are writing, and so on and so forth. So it's really already in our business lives, and the data from social media is also getting bigger and bigger every day. So now you started seeing software applications next to social media analysts to help those social media analysts to analyze that data. So it's really an incremental growth that we simply neither have the technological capability nor the resources to analyze to the fullest capability. So it's really more important to realize that how do I filter this out? There's so much junk out there. How do I make sure that it's not even in my systems? So organizations should do have an effort to indeed go out there and collect data, but before they do that, they should spend a significant amount of time into planning. So what do I need to collect that data for? What am I looking? Is the purpose getting to know your customers better, or is the purpose to learn more about the idea of people about your product? So what is your focus? What is it that you want to get out of the data? And of course, there's also the concept of data mining. And if you don't necessarily have a question that you want to solve, you can always try to find out patterns out there. No, probably currently as it is, but BPM will have to adapt and evolve to be able to cope with big data. Let me tell you one statistics that I found it very interesting. Online or mobile financial transactions, social media traffic, GPS coordinates, they do generate over 2.5 quintillion bytes. Quintillion is 10 to the power of 18, and this is per day. So imagine the volume that people are talking about when they say big data. But I think there's a lot of confusion out there when it comes to big data, because it's not a very rigid definition. It's also, just as BI, it's a very organic topic. And people refrain from giving certain numbers because big data of today will probably not be so much of a big data in 20 years. So it's growing every day. And the challenge is, the concept of big data is not about the volume only. It's also about the velocity of data. So you see, for example, we discussed about real-time data. You see that becoming more and more real. Everybody's talking about real-time data. So imagine getting this much of a volume real-time. So how do you really cope with it? But along with these concepts, there's also the structure of data that defines the concept of big data. Big data is actually all types of data. So far we are very structured in the way we store our data in our databases, in our data warehouses. We have nice tables, rows and columns and databases, but not all data fits into that format. How do you deal with video? How do you analyze audio files? How do you analyze image files? Or imagine the input you get from sensors, the RFID tags. You have all kinds of structured data, all kinds of different types of data that are not necessarily structured.